Thanks for joining me. Here it is, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Didn't get quite enough sleep last night. And I was thinking, you know, I think one of the benefits of painting by process. Let me take a slight diversion here. Good paintings, in my opinion, good paintings are the product of good process. Good paintings don't just happen. They happen because somebody did something, and usually something they'd done before. Some kind of order, some kind of structure. My process is always evolving, but I have a general ABC 1, 2, 3 in mind, as you know. So this next layer is the fuzz, transparent, translucent, local color, glow layer. All those words reflecting the same reality. Okay, so the reason I say it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I didn't get quite enough sleep is, you know, I don't know that I feel up to finishing oil painting right now. I'd rather go get a nap. I'd rather go sit down. I'd rather go eat some junk food. But one of the benefits of having a process is I don't have to finish this painting right now. All I have to do is the next layer in the next step in the process, which in this case is the glow layer, or the fuzz layer. And so I sort of grab myself by the britches and say, okay, come on, you can do the fuzz layer. And inside I go, oh yeah, I can do that. Does that make sense? So there's some benefit to having, as opposed to, like, I have dear friends who do hyper-realism, and I mean the whole thing is just a labor of exhaustion. I don't know. That's probably putting it too strong. But anyway, like they don't do stages. They just, okay, now I got to paint this guy's shoelaces. Okay, now I got to paint the glow on his shoes. Okay, now I got to paint the glow on the sole of his shoes. Okay, now I got to paint the shadow under. It's all the same step. It's just the same thing over and over and over. That's not what I'm talking. That is not process. That's just painting. It's just put your head down and paint the same thing all over. What I'm doing here is process, because it's a different activity than the last thing I did. It's a different kind of painting. And the next layer will be different from this one, and the next one will be different from that. And my guess is, I'll catch my second wind here in a bit, and my guess is I actually will be able to finish this painting in the next not too many hours from now. Partly because of process. There you go. So there's a free commercial for painting by some kind of process. My buddy Mike, who's over there, he's back. Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him we can hear him scumbling. He has a process. 'Cause he paints kind of the Cape Cod school of underpainting, sort of modified. So he also has a process. Soft edges, soft edges, soft edges, I say to myself. Soft edges, soft edges, soft edges. That's part of the beauty of this step. This step is very intentional. Soft edges. Everything kind of bleeds into everything else a little bit. That's part of the reason I'm using a brush this size. So that I won't be so tempted to start doing hard edges or small things. So I really felt the need on this painting. I felt the need to get the sky local color kind of nailed down. So now that pink, orange pink stuff is still peeking through. And if it's not peeking through enough by any chance, of course I can pick up a nice rag and just lift off a little bit of what I just put on there, just a little bit to get it, just enough of the underpainting to show through. Yeah, that's nice. I think I'm going to start doing more underpaintings in alternate colors. I'm out of green. Of course, you all know you don't need green on your palette, do you? Nope. But it's a shortcut. Saves time. I'm all about saving time. So now I'm mixing up a sort of an olive green-ish color, viridian green, and burnt sienna with dirty brushes. So this is an opaque mixture. Needs to be more yellow than that. This is for these trees back here. I want them to have a slight greenish cast to them. Just very slight. You can hardly even tell. But while I've got this color mixed up, I've got some trees over here that I just about completely forgot about in the last couple layers. So they just about disappeared on me, but there we go. They're back. Yay for the reappearing trees. It didn't take long, did it? There's some evergreen tree, some kind of cedar, I believe, over there. Hey, and while I'm doing green, then to save cleaning brushes, let's just mix up a real bright spring green, grass green. And let's do some scumbling of grass color. And a little bit of green in these palm trees up here. So no palm fronds, no hard edges here, just the glow of the palm tree. Okay, glow first, object second. If you want something to look like it's glowing, you paint the glow first, and you paint the object that's doing the glow, you paint that second. Kayak, green kayak over here. While we're doing green. I don't know what those marks are. I think those... Okay, now one of the things I want to do is clothing on people. I think this aqua color that I've got, or green, seafoam green that I have, is a good color for that guy's shirt on the bike there. Oh, and then, yes, by all means, the street signs here. It's the perfect color for those street signs. And again, I paint them loose first. The next layer, I'll come back and paint them tight. Yep. Let's do a little bit of this green, whatever it is. Let's do a little bit of it back here to represent a variation in the foliage in the distance back there. Okay. I'm going to clean those brushes later. I'll tell you what I'm really anxious to get to, because it's going to make such a big difference, is the glow, the glow, the glow of the glow in this painting. The sun hitting this side of the street, there's a fence, pedestrians, car, street, all that has to just glow. It already is glowing. I'm just going to reinforce it a little bit. So I got some Naples yellow and some white, of course. Naples yellow, titanium white, and a little bit of Indian yellow. Okay, there we go. And yes, I'm going to take a rag for some of what I'm doing here. Take a rag and just smooth out a little bit of it. I mean, I want it. This is really fuzzy edges. Sharp edges come next. Right now it's time for fuzzy. I'm going to do this layer, this area twice, by the way. Once, right now, I'm doing with a very warm white or a very light yellow, depending which you want to call it. And I'm going to come back and hit it again with a whiter white, or a whiter yellow, perhaps I should say, lighter yellow. But while I've got this yellow on my brush, let me go ahead and hit this one kayak up here. It's a yellow kayak, so I want some of that. I want some of that yellow to spill out, don't I? For sure. I'll do the same thing with the red kayak in a few minutes. Some more yellow glow at the top of these palm trees. Okay, now I'll clean these brushes just a little bit, and I'm gonna hit this with a lighter white, or lighter yellow, whichever way you want to call it. Okay. I've got two brushes, both of which are just loaded down with paint. It doesn't work very well, so get a clean brush here. Hard to paint fuzz when the brush is just overloaded with gobs of paint. It doesn't come off slightly, it comes off in gobs. Gobs is the official word. G-O-B-S. Google it. Okay, you can already see, I hope, if you can see what's going on here, the glow is happening. The glow is happening around all these people. This is the lightest part of the painting right here. There's a white fence. In reality, it's not very white. In reality, it's kind of a weathered natural wood gray. But for purposes of this painting, we're pretending it's a white fence. I hope they appreciate me painting their fence for them. Let me go back to the very beginning of today. If you want to go back and look up I called it something. I called it something like starting a painting with a weak subject matter. Something like that. Which is what I called this scene. I still do call this scene, is a weak subject matter. And it's just not a subject matter that's just rises up and smacks you. It's not majestic mountains or broad sweeping plains or crashing waves or anything like that. It's just a rather mundane, ordinary street scene. So it was my job to try to turn it into something spectacular. When it didn't have any natural spectacularity of its own. I'm not sure that's a word, but you know what I mean. And the number one tool I have for doing that, of course, is play of light. Number one is play of light. So that explains everything you're seeing here, all of this. And let me explain something here. In case you're a student and you're trying to get all this figured out, what do I mean by play of light? Well, I do not mean, as so many beginner students really get hung up on which way is the light coming from. And I'm a little bit of a meanie on this one. I'm kind of a stickler. I say, as a beginning painting student, don't give yourself any credit, zero credit, for getting that answer right. Oh, I got the light coming from the right direction. All the light is coming from the right or the left or whatever. No. Don't give yourself any credit. The reason is because I'm afraid that too many times, if students give themselves credit for achieving that, they feel like they've achieved something, then they let their energy down and say, whew, I've got play of light. Well, the answer is no, you don't have any play of light. Sure, the light's coming from, there's everything in this painting shows that light's coming from the right, but that is not what makes the painting or the light in this painting dramatic. And it's a little bit, I use a whole library of abstract terms to describe what is play of light. It's things like, in this case, let's just call it sunlight. It could be firelight or candlelight or street lights or anything, but no, tonight, here it's sunlight. It's more than sunlight coming from the left. It's sunlight dazzling, sparkling, cutting, jabbing, piercing, poking, dividing, intersecting, smashing, bouncing. Do you hear me? All of those words, that's play of light. Not, oh look, the sun is shining on the road. Right? This is not sun shining on the road. This is sunlight exploding off the road. Do you see the difference? Do you hear the difference? That's why I say don't give yourself any credit for which way is the light coming from, because you're liable to get stuck and feel like you've accomplished something when I don't think you have. I say it for your own good. I care about you. Really, I do. Deep down. Same thing. We have light explode, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this glow layer, separate, because I really want to make sure that the light is dramatic. So I've got light sparkling off, glistering light off the bicycle. In a minute here I'm going to have, again, more light exploding off the edge of these kayaks. I can only do 2 of them because I haven't done the underpainting on these 2 middle ones yet. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I hope you're catching that. It's not about, so again, the most important aspect of a painting, the most important aspect is play of light. And play of light is all those things. Light exploding, piercing, ripping, tearing. Rather violent, isn't it? But you have to feel something like that. It's not just a matter of, oh, the sunlight is hitting the front of this building. Hitting is not good enough a word. That is not play of light. That's boring light. Now, as a matter of fact, ironic, as I say that, I am in fact painting sunlight hitting the front of this building, and I'm not playing it up. Why? Because this is not the main. This is the main thing down here. Okay, so I hope I didn't just confuse you. Yeah, there's a time and a place for mild lighting, because you can't have the whole image glistering, exploding. The whole canvas. You can't have the whole canvas exploding. You have to pick where your explosions are. Does that make sense? You choose your explosions carefully. And you can make it glow with a finger, a thumb. See how much better that is than it was even just a moment ago? I'm going to do the same thing down here. So I've pretty much finished my, well, not the people, but the glow there. The star of this painting is established. Nobody now has to wonder what he was after. What was he trying to get us to look at? Now, I don't expect non-artists to think this way, but I expect artists to understand. Okay, this is a good time to pause here, and I'm going to keep on doing this layer, local color. By the way, these little bits of color of light, I'm slipping into the final phase, aren't I, with those little highlights of color. I lost, anyway, my second to last layer is bleeding over into my second last layer. So there, I fixed it just to keep you fussy people happy. If there's any fussy people watching. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll be back in a little while.